So let's get right into it. Today we're looking at Erik Ehn's play Maria Kizito. Now this isn't just a simple retelling of a story from the Rwandan genocide. It's an attempt to go deeper, to actually meditate on it, to try and get inside the mind of a perpetrator. It's a really tough journey, for sure, but it's one we kind of have to take if we want to understand how atrocities like this can even happen.
Right from the start, the play hits you with this line. 2 nuns are on trial for the deaths of 7,000. I mean, wow. Just let that sink in. There's no gentle introduction. We are immediately face to face with this unbelievable, horrifying idea. 2 Benedictine nuns, women of God, accused of helping to murder the very people who came to them for safety.
And that, right there, is the core question of the entire play. It's what every scene, every line is wrestling with. It's not so much a what happened as it is a how could this happen? How does something like that take root in the heart and soul of someone like Sister Maria Kizito?
So here's what's so fascinating about this play's approach. The author, Erik Ehn, he's not trying to explain the politics of the genocide or even point fingers. No, instead, he's trying to enter what he calls the inner prayer space of a perpetrator. He's asking, what kind of God were they talking to? What did their faith actually look like on the inside? But before we can even begin to understand that inner world, we have to get our heads around the sheer scale of the horror outside. In 1994, over just 100 days, 800,000 people, Tutsis and moderate Hutus, were killed, mostly by their own neighbors with basic weapons. That number, that's the backdrop for everything that happened at the convent. To get a handle on the play, you really have to get a handle on the history. You've probably heard the explanation that this was all about ancient tribal rivalries, right? Well, the play's historical note and history itself tells a completely different story. See, these names, Hutu and Tutsi, they weren't always about warring tribes. Far from it. They were more like class labels, follower and leader. But then, colonial rulers from Germany and then Belgium came in and basically invented a racial divide. They said the Tutsis were superior, gave them special treatment, and even issued identity cards to make it official. That resentment they created, that's what lit the fuse. And when it finally happened, it happened fast. Unbelievably fast. April 6th, the president's plane gets shot down. That was the trigger. Just hours later, roadblocks are up, militias are on the move, and the radio is telling people to go out and kill. It was a full-blown, organized slaughter that went on for 100 days nonstop until the RPF took the capital in July. Okay, so we've got the big picture. Now the play takes a camera and just zooms all the way in. We go from that massive historical view to the tight, claustrophobic mind of one person, Sister Maria Kizito. We're invited to see this whole thing through her eyes. Just listen to that. That's one of her first prayers in the play. My heart is a jerrican of gasoline. It's poetic, yeah, but it's also incredibly disturbing. It gives you this immediate sense that something is deeply, deeply wrong here. She doesn't see herself as a person, but as a can of fuel just waiting for a match. And here's where things get really stark. You have her poetic, internal world, and then you have the cold, hard facts of what she did, according to witnesses. She wasn't counting refugees to help them. She was sorting them for the killers. And that jerrican of gasoline in her heart, well, it became a literal jerrican of petrol that she provided, which was used to burn people alive. So how does a person get to that point? How does the play even begin to explain it? Well, this is where it gets really clever and really disturbing. See, the nuns don't stop their religious rituals. They don't abandon their faith. They twist it. They start praying from what the play calls the Bible of genocide. I mean, just look at this example. On the one hand, a normal prayer asking God for help. But in the play, they're taking a verse from the Psalms and using it to paint the refugees, the very people they're supposed to be protecting, as invaders who are dirtying their holy places. Their faith literally becomes the engine for their hate. And get this, Maria Kizito says this line right after handing 2 hidden children over to the militia to be murdered. Let that sink in for a second. In that moment, she's not horrified. She's not filled with guilt. She feels like she's had a religious epiphany, like she's just read a new page of the Bible, one written in blood. Now, we have to remember this isn't just fiction. The play is wrestling with a real-life trial.
a moment where the entire world had to look at this story and decide what justice meant. It was a verdict not just on these women, but on humanity itself. And in 2001, the verdict came down. A court in Belgium found them both guilty. Sister Gertrude, who was the head of the convent, was sentenced to 15 years. Sister Maria Kizito got 12 years.
Now, this trial was a huge deal, a really big deal. It was basically the first time a jury in one country convicted people from another country for war crimes that happened somewhere else entirely. It set this incredible precedent that some crimes are so awful, they are an offense against all of us, and they can be tried anywhere.
There's a character in the play, an American nun, who's basically there for us, the audience, trying to make sense of it all. And she asks this question that just cuts right to the bone. It's this chilling idea that maybe the kind of mental leap it takes to believe in something so completely isn't all that different from what it takes to believe in something truly evil. And in the end, that's what we're left with. The play doesn't give you any easy answers. It's not supposed to. Instead, it just holds up a mirror and forces us to ask, what does evil even look like when it's wearing the mask of faith? How can the very things we think will save us, our rituals, our scriptures, our communities, become the tools for our own damnation?